Even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise, and he that shutteth his lips is esteemed a man of understanding. Proverbs 17:28. Yeah, speaking from experience, that is very true. Basically, if you keep your mouth shut, people are going to think you're smart. You may not actually be that smart, but people think it when you're not talking much. And I am not someone who talks much. Now, you may not know that because, well, what I make on here are videos of me talking. And I can definitely tell you this is where I do most of my talking. I am a very shy, very introverted, very quiet person. Um, there was a time when I was about 14 where I was with this girl and she said, she wanted me to talk because I don't talk. And then I started getting a little too comfortable around her, and she's like, I liked you better when you didn't talk. And that, ouch, that hurt. And so I was like, didn't really want to talk much after that again, but, you know, I've always been a very shy, quiet person. And God's not saying never talk, but He is saying, like, well, if you don't talk, you're going to seem smarter, which, there's definitely times to be quiet, and there's definitely times to talk. I'm mostly quiet. I've been noticing, like, especially lately in the last few days, I've been called wise a lot, like, a lot more than normal. It doesn't happen very often. Like, Tim in our group live the other day, he called me the wise one. And I'm like, I didn't say anything, but I'm thinking, like, I'm the wise one. Okay, sure. I don't see it. Um, and someone at our church dinner today, she was like, she's asking everyone for these opinions on finding a new pastor. And she talked to me specifically. She's like, I especially wanted your opinion on finding a new pastor because I know you have a lot of wisdom, and I'm friends with her on Facebook. And she's like, I learn a lot from what you post on Facebook because I'm always posting, all this biblical stuff. Maybe I post too much because I'm always like sharing stuff because I just want people to see the truth, I want people to see Jesus. But, and I'm not trying to, I hope this doesn't come off as me trying to just brag about myself because I'm really hesitant to talk about myself because I'm like, well, that's not what I'm trying to do. I just, I don't know. Like, it's easier to share stories and talk about your own experiences with God and things you know about God, lessons and messages when you talk about it from your own perspective, Does that make sense? Like, so I hope this doesn't come through as me trying to glow or anything, because I'm nothing special. And, like, people have been calling me wise, and I don't see it. And I'm not discrediting God, because I get it, kind of, because, like, I mean, it's all God. It's not me, right? And there's so much I don't know. I really don't know a lot. um, but even though I don't get it, um, I'm not necessarily supposed to. I'm not supposed to see my own beauty or like see myself as wise. Like, I think that makes sense because I heard this analogy from a pastor here on TikTok when we were doing a live, and he was talking about how people can see this caterpillar, just a regular old caterpillar, and then it goes into a cocoon, and then it comes out as this beautiful butterfly. And everyone sees its beauty but itself. A butterfly can't see its own beauty. And that's kind of what it's like to be on our walk with God, on our calling, sharing God's light to other people. Like, other people can see us shining, see God's light in us if we're following what He asks us to do. And we don't necessarily always see that, like often we're just being ourselves and God's just shining through us. Like we don't always see what all's going on, like the full, you know what I mean? And I just thought that was a really cool analogy. It's like, yeah, a butterfly can't see its own beauty. And in the same way, we're not necessarily supposed to see that. We're just meant to do this stuff for others, we're meant to glorify God and be his light, you know, uh, have his light shine through us for others to see, not so much for ourselves, if that makes sense. And even just like a few years or so ago, I could have never just came on here and made 10-plus minute long videos on TikTok all the time, just talking about God. Like the amount of pressure and the amount of what ifs and what if I get attacked, what if people hate me, what if people say all these horrible things. And um but then I got close to God, and I was like so on fire for God that I was like, I felt him calling me to make videos on here, because I know that God calls us all to preach the gospel to as many people as we can. That's our main goal. That's the main objective. And um, I'm so shy that it's just so hard for me to go out publicly and just walk up to someone and tell them the gospel. Like, I mean, I think you have to be careful. I think you have to be smart about it and not just randomly go up to someone and be like, Jesus loves you, like, it makes more sense to bring it up casually in conversations and all that. And I don't know. It's just hard for me to do anything like socially. I'm just so introverted. So, and I think, I guess that's fear. And I know God doesn't give us the spirit of fear, but that's just who I am. It's just so hard to not, you know, be so shy and not talk, because I don't really talk in public. But online, when you're talking to your phone, no one's around me. That's that's a little different. I was like, you know what? I can do that. As once I was getting closer to God, I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. I don't. It's hard to talk in public, but doing things like this, it's like, okay, there are ways to get the gospel to people. And if you're shy like me, you don't have an excuse. If I can do it, you can do it, right? I believe so. Like, if you're so shy that you can't talk to people in public, make videos. Go live on here. Um, Send letters in the mail to people or something. There's always ways. Get creative. There's always ways you can find to send Jesus to people, to send the gospel to people. And um, I don't. In one way, I send the gospel to people is through when people buy stuff from my eBay page, and I send like Bibles and messages with them. And someone replied to me, like sent me a message today on eBay, and they're like, thanking me for sending that. But they're also like, I'm a Christian. They were a Christian, and they're like, I don't think you should probably be sending these, because some people really hate Christians, and it's probably not going to help. And it's hard to know what to do, but I think it's probably good to send those still, because it's like, I'm sending the gospel, and you never know who needs that. So it's always hard to know what to do sometimes, but I'm out of time. God bless you guys. Peace.